Everyone just make sure to mute yourselves, please. Everyone just mute themselves if they can. All right, Dad, you ready to get started?
Sure am.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right, can everyone, if you can see my screen, just write in the chat box, yes. Dad, can you see the screen?
Absolutely. So one of the things I wanted to start with is just a little story that I think is kind of interesting and germane to what we're talking about. And the story goes like this. There were two campers in the woods, and unfortunately in the background there was a big black bear. So one of the campers actually sits down on a rock, pulls a pair of sneakers out of his knapsack and starts putting them on. His friend and his fellow camper said, "What do you think you're going to do? You think you're going to outrun that bear?" He goes, "Son, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you." So in a way, what it shows you is when in the whole online digital marketing world, we just want to be one step faster than the people we're competitive with. So Alan, go ahead and start.
That's right. Well, good point there. All right, guys, good afternoon. Happy Thursday. We appreciate you taking the time to, take some time out of your day to learn a little bit about marketing and how you can really help your business with online marketing. Our goal for today is to, have you get some key takeaways that you can apply to your business, or work with us and we can help you with these things. But we really want you to have some, some aha moments here. We feel really good about this webinar, and as you know, it's about how to attract online clients with online marketing. So we're going to give you some tools, some strategies, some secrets to success, and utilizing the machine that is Google, as well as Google reviews. Okay. So if you have any questions, just keep them for the end. We're going to do a Q&A. You can put them in the chat. Okay. Okay, so let's get started here. All right, so today's agenda, we're going to do some introductions. We're going to talk about Google and why it's so crucial to your marketing. We're going to give you 5 key tactics to generate new business opportunities. We're going to show you how to take advantage of Google reviews, the Q&A, and then we have a special offer at the end. So make sure to stay to the end so you can see this special offer, okay? And today's obviously represented by 800 Commerce and Transformational Outsourcing. Okay, so who are today's speaker? You have the dynamic duo, father and son of Alan and Bob. I'm Alan, obviously the younger one here, and that's my dad with the nice blue jacket. We've been working together for quite some time now, and we are respectively the vice president and president of Transformational Outsourcing. So let's get into this. Okay, so a little background on us. We're obviously a father-son team. That's us looking snazzy there on the right. We have 20 years combined in digital marketing experience. I'm a UCF grad. My dad's a good old Memphis grad. I have a lot of major marketing experience. I worked for the Miami Dolphins, Comcast, Breakthrough Beverage, working on brands like Jose Cuervo, Jack Daniels, Kendall Jackson wines. So worked with a lot of big brands, but also a lot of small local businesses. My father has a good sales background, owning his own company. I don't know if you want to get into that real quick, Dad.
Yeah, for 17 years, I managed and owned a home furnishings company where we distributed home accessories to every major furniture company in the
Dad, you're muted. Dad, you got to unmute yourself. You got muted. Just unmute yourself.
How about now?
Yep, you're good. Go ahead. Sorry, you got cut off there.
Saying about in 2008, I formed Transformational Outsourcing pretty much to help small businesses. I always felt that small businesses were always at a disadvantage because they did not have large budgets for marketing. And that's the way I was when I was in business. So my goal was to provide cost-efficient, effective strategies for small businesses.
Yep, that's great. So then we teamed up, in 2017. We had worked together for a while, but we really started working on a lot of bigger projects together, and the rest is history. So a little bit else, the reason why we want to do this, we feel that business owners all share the same challenge, right? You guys have a lack of time, a lack of patience, a lack of, knowledge and skills, and a lack of desire really when it comes to digital marketing. You want to focus on your business, whether it's, a mediator, a lawyer, whatever the case may be. You want to do what you do best, right? And that's not going to include marketing. So you business owners really need to delegate that. And that's where we come in. We're the specialists when it comes to marketing. But what we found is that some marketing companies are super, cheap, but it just doesn't work. Maybe it's someone over in India doing it or whatever the case may be. It's really cheap and it sounds good, but it's not effective. Or it works and it's bloody expensive, right? So we felt there was an opportunity in the market to be both effective yet cost friendly, right? So, we get the job done, but you're not going to necessarily break the bank, okay? So yeah, we teamed up with 800 Commerce really to marry our skill sets together and bring you this webinar. And, we hope you get a lot from it today. Okay, so a little bit about transformational outsourcing, just to give you a quick background before we dive into, the meat and potatoes of this presentation. We're a boutique agency located right here in South Florida. You're always going to deal directly with us. We don't just, kind of pawn you off to someone with no experience. We have a plethora of niche industry experience. We've worked with lawyers, mediators, pest control, professional athletes, you really name it. We've worked with people in almost every industry at this point. We have very flexible terms. We're Google Ads certified, which is obviously important for this presentation because we're talking about Google. And we have an A+ rating on Better Business Bureau. And as you notice there on the right, we have all 5-star reviews. Okay, so we're a trusted company. Final thing here is we've noticed another thing about marketing companies is they're just quick to give you a website or do your social media, or maybe they're going to do some paid digital ads for you. But do they really know anything about your company? Did they create a sound strategy to start with before they just started throwing, tools together like social media posts? No, you're not going to get an ROI unless you create a sound strategy first, right? So we're very into creating really a blueprint for you before we go into social media and do all these tools. We're going to create you a holistic marketing strategy that's going to really take everything into account to outperform your competition before we take care of any of these tools like videos and ads and things like that, okay? So that's very, very important to us. We always create a strategy with you in the beginning and ask you relevant questions to your business before we start the marketing plan. Because the last thing you want is you don't want the spaghetti on the wall approach. Let's just throw a ton of marketing things and see what sticks. No. We want to create a strategy that we know will be successful, okay? So let's get into this presentation. Remember, you can ask any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat box. Okay, so why Google, right? I mean, everyone here has heard of Google. Well, let me give you some eye-opening stats of how really big Google has become for your marketing. First of all, Google accounts for over 75% of all global search traffic, meaning people are using the Google search engine to find answers, to find companies just like yourself. On the first page of a search result, anytime you type in a keyword like mediator and Boca, the top 5 results, that accounts for 67% of all clicks. So it's important to be appearing at the top of the first page, and we're going to get into how to do that. Google search engine uses more than 200 factors to rank websites. So there's it's very tedious and there's a lot of work involved in getting yourself ranked. The average smartphone user checks their smartphone 150 times a day. What does that mean? That means you want to make sure that you're mobile friendly. All of your stuff, your website, your social media, all of it is optimized for a mobile device. Where to buy and near me searches have actually grown by 200% in the last year. So that's when you type in restaurant near me, lawyer near me, whatever the case may be, those searches have grown exponentially. Your Google My Business, commonly referred to as GMB, receives 4 times the number of impressions as your website, meaning 4 times the amount of views in your actual website does. So it's really your first line of branding right there. You got to make sure that is really, really good. And if you don't know what a GMB is, we're going to get into it. Don't worry. 51% of customers said that they use mobile devices to discover new products and new brands. So like I said, mobile, very, very important. And then 70% of mobile searches result with an online action within an hour, meaning a phone call, a website visit. They submit a form on your website. So very, very important. And now when it comes to reviews, consumers require 40 reviews before they trust a business. So if you only have 1 or 2 5-star reviews, you need to amp that up. And then finally, just increasing your Google star rating by just 1 star. So from going from 3 to 4 stars can boost your revenue by 5 to 9%. And that is actually shown by the American Marketing Association. So very, very key stat. If you don't have reviews, you need them. Dad, did you want to add anything about any of those?
Well, I think the thing to realize is the Google business listing, which we're going to get into, is really your brand. You know, most of the time you're going to see when somebody Googles a business, the biggest footprint that they have on the internet is actually their Google listing, and that's why Google over the last couple of years have added many, many features, which we're going to go into in the next few slides.
Right. No, that's a good point. Okay. So, oh, and then 93% of consumers say reviews impact their purchase decisions. So you need reviews. Okay. So let's get into the necessities of what you really just, you know, this is just the baseline of what you need to really get started with Google marketing and really just get started with your marketing in general online. Okay. So you need a Google My Business listing, or commonly referred to as GMB. If you don't have one, it's completely free to get. You go to google.com/business and you sign up and you follow the prompts there. You're going to be putting in all of your relevant information, your name, your company, your address, all that. We'll get into that. You got to have a website. If you don't have a website, I mean, that's really the basis for your marketing. I mean, that's like if you have a car and not having an engine, you really need a website. You got to make sure your website is mobile friendly. People are switching to smaller and smaller screens now. People are using their iPads. People are using their Androids, their cell phones. You got to make sure your website is mobile friendly, and you can do a test it for free on this great resource Google uses right there if you want to write that down. And just a side note, we'll be sending out the recording of this presentation. So if you don't catch something, you'll be able to watch it again. You need a well-optimized and high-functioning website, and that's going to be something we really get into today to show you some tips on how to do that. And then you want a strong testimonial program. Google reviews aren't just going to appear magically. You're going to have to ask for them. Of course, some people may just, you know, go give them to you, you know, without, you know, prompting them, but it's important to have something like that in place. So do me a favor, in the chat box right now, tell me if you guys have a Google My Business listing and is it optimized? Just write, yes, I have one, or no, I don't have one in the chat box. If you have one, you can always just search. If you don't know if you have one, you can literally search on Google, type in the name of your company. And if you don't see that kind of big box / window appear on the right-hand side, then you don't have one and you need to claim or verify your listing. So I got a couple people saying yes, a couple people saying no. So this is going to be a huge part of what we get into today. Okay. Okay. So Dad, why is a Google My Business listing so crucial?
Well, it's easy to see. One of the things that we highlighted here is that your GMB, which is the acronym for Google My Business, gets 4 times the impressions as your website. Now, that's not so hard to understand. If somebody is Googling whatever, it could be a store, it could be a profession, it could be a restaurant. This is the largest footprint. It takes up the most real estate on a page. That's why it gets 4 times the impressions as your website.
That's right, exactly. And as you see a stat here, it gets 4 times the amount of views. So it's logical that we pay attention to something that's going to really generate a lot of eyeballs for you, right? Someone needs to mute themselves. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's keep going here. So obviously that's extremely important. Okay, so what is a Google My Business listing? Here is what a Google My Business listing looks like if you don't know what one is. Here's just an example of a local hairstylist, right? So here's what the Google My Business looks like. This is kind of from a desktop perspective, what it looks like. But what are the key elements, right? You have the photo section. So it's a great opportunity to put photos of your team, your logo, maybe if you're a brick and mortar place to put, you know, pictures of your office, your location, but, you know, really a great spot to put, you know, just photos of yourself and your team. And even if you have any videos, you could put here as well. You want to put this is your name, obviously. And then your address and phone number, all your key information is going to go there. So your website, your address, your phone number, where they can book appointments with you, all very, very important areas. And if you guys are not on mute right now, I'm just trying to mute. There we go. Okay. So
I want to add one thing too. One of the things that I see out there working with different types of professions, but I deal a lot with attorneys and mediators. The name of you is not the real title. If I'm Bob Levin and that's my name of my mediation company, I want to tell the world that it's Bob Levin Mediation or Bob Levin Mediator or Bob Levin South Florida Mediator. This is your opportunity. This is like on the marquee of the movie, okay? You're not going to just put movie on the marquee. You're going to put your name. You can put what your profession is. You can even add where you're located. That really tells the public and the person who's actually Googling you who you are, to make sure they're hitting the right person.
That's right. No, that's absolutely right. So this is very important. And if you don't have a Google My Business listing, like you said, you can make one for free, but we could help you out with that. Then the last kind of part is, of course, your reviews are hosted on your, they live on your Google My Business listing. So your reviews, and then you also have right there at the bottom on the right, you have 750 characters to describe your business, what you do, where you're located. There's a lot of this is a great area to put keywords. So if you're a Boca Raton mediator, you're going to put that in there. You're going to put, Google loves certain key terms like reliable, trusted, experienced, trusted in the South Florida community for the past 15 years. Things like that are great buzzwords to include in this area. And this is all things that can be done on your Google My Business listing, right? Okay, so how do you maximize your Google My Business listing? So here's an example of really all the tools that the GMB offers, right? Of course, you want to put your name, address, and phone number, right? Your website address. You could put photos and videos. You can actually, people can ask you questions on your Google My Business listing, and you can answer them directly on there. So it's a great area to be a resource for people to answer their questions. Obviously, you can monitor and respond to any reviews that you get. GMB posts. So Google really kind of relatively recently allowed for you to put posts on their status updates, similar to almost like a social media page like Facebook. So this is a great area to put updates about your company. Right now, they even have a COVID-19 update section. So if your hours have changed due to COVID, or you're going strictly online, you could put kind of those type of updates there. If you have an upcoming event, it allows you to promote events on there. If you have some sort of holiday special, discount, whatever's going on, you could put there on your Google My Business in the post section, and that will live on there for 7 days and be featured prominently on your listing.
And let me add one more thing.
Yeah,
on
sure.
Questions and answers. This is also a great opportunity to put the type of questions that you're asked as in your profession. If you're an attorney, let's say you're a divorce attorney, there's a myriad of questions that are always asked. You can just Google. And sometimes what we recommend to our clients is, what are the top 10 questions being asked of you, maybe in an onboarding call, obviously, besides what is the cost of your services. There's lots of things. So this is an excellent place to load up those questions and answers.
That's right. Yeah. And you really become a resource for people when you do that. And what else? You could put your product info in there. So if you are a divorce lawyer, a product liability lawyer, and an employment lawyer, you're going to put that in the product section and explain what those services are. And then Google allows you to put a link to each one of those individual pages on your website. So it kind of acts as a gateway to discuss your services right there on the page. Also, Google offers you valuable insights, your Google My Business listing, and we'll get into that. And then finally, like I said, reviews. A lot of people, Google puts a huge preference on people that are getting quality and quantity reviews on there. You will outrank your competitor as long as you have a nice optimized page, but you have a lot of 5-star reviews. Those are very, very important. Probably one of the biggest things we'll stress today. All right, so question, once again, in the chat, have you fully taken advantage of your Google My Business page? Are you putting your products or your services on there? Are you adding status updates, updates about your company? Are you generating reviews? Is your GMB fully optimized? Do you have your website on there? Do you have the correct phone number and address on there? Maybe you moved recently, you didn't update your address. Put it in the chat if you have an optimized Google My Business listing or a completely filled out listing. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to talk about that, or to put that in the chat. Okay, so now let's get into, obviously we've all done it, right? You've typed in something on Google like restaurant near me, best attorney near me, or whatever the case may be. It's best plumber in Boca Raton. You have all typed in search engine things on Google. And when you do it, you're generally looking at the results that come up on the first page, right? Do you ever wonder why certain companies come up on the top of your top of the results of the first page? Well, that's because Google has a search engine algorithm that they put into place, and they want businesses to do certain things to their website and off their website in order to rank highly. Okay, and there's quite a few factors that we'll go over. Some of them are pretty technical, but some of them are pretty, cut and dry ways that you will rank on the first page. And like we said earlier, why do you want to rank on the first page? Well, 67% of all clicks are on the first 5 results of the first page. So you want to be there. This is where you get the phone calls. This is where you generate the leads. Okay. So first and foremost, you got to make sure that your website is secure. You could really easily do that. If you look at your URL bar where you type in, your website, www.whatever.com, there should be a little lock button right there that says it's secure when you click on it. If you see a button that's like unlocked, or you see something, it will say not secure in red, that means your website is not secure. I mean, Dad, how important is that to have the SSL?
Well, if you go back 5-10 years, the reason why they needed to be secure because you took credit cards, okay? And obviously nobody wants to enter a credit card number unless the site is encrypted. It's called a secure socket layer. But with the recent hacking going on, think about it for 1 second. You're an attorney or somebody that has sensitive information, or bankruptcy attorney, and they say, I want some information because I'm considering going bankrupt. You certainly don't want that information hacked, okay? So what Google is saying now, they're warning people, if your site is unsecure, sometimes they are making you go through 3 steps just to get to that person's site. So it's really just now website 101 to make sure the site is secured. And it's basically your host, whoever hosts your site, can help you take care of that too, or somebody like us.
That's exactly right. Okay, so including relevant keywords on your website. This is obvious. If you are a divorce attorney in Coral Springs and it doesn't say that anywhere on your website, that's a problem. You need to have your website full of keywords that are relevant and valuable to your business. Divorce, child support, alimony. And I know we're using a lot of examples for lawyers, but that's because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of lawyers on this call, or mediators at least on this call. Okay, you got to make sure your site is loading fast. I mean, how many of you have went to a website and it takes forever to load and you're going to bounce off? You're leaving the website. It's not fast. Well, guess what? Google offers you a resource to see how fast your website is. And there it is right there. You can go to that website, write that down, and you'll see it'll give you a score 0 through 100. If you're in like the lower quadrant of like 0 to 30, you need to do some technical tune up to your website. And that's something that we really specialize in at Transformational Outsourcing. You need to have strong title tags, and I'm going to show you that in the following slides, how to do that. External, internal links on your website. So on your website, let's just use this one on the right-hand side as an example. See where it says about us, services, events? Well, those are clickable buttons that go to internal pages into that website. So that's an internal link. That means it's linking to other spots on your website, and they got to be logical links. So if it's something that's about us, you got to go to the about page, or whatever, or contact, we'll go to the contact page, so on and so forth. External links. It's great to link out to highly reputable external websites. So maybe you have some sort of case study on your website and you got the information from WebMD or Wikipedia or something like that. Put a link to where you got that information from. So an external website, just because it's not on your website, that is still a very valuable thing to happen. And you could go through your website and see what kind of links you have on there. You got to identify any technical errors. So if you have broken links, pages on your website that aren't loading, things like that, you got to identify and fix those. City pages, we'll get into that very shortly, how important those are. And you got to be mobile friendly. We talked about that. Over 55% of searches today are done from a mobile device. If you're not optimized for a smaller screen, meaning if you go to your website and the picture is extremely stretched out or the words are getting cut off and things like that, your website's not mobile friendly. Well, Google offers you a resource to do a check and see if you are mobile friendly. You can test and it'll show you exactly what it looks like. Or quite simply, just go onto your iPhone or your Android and type in the name of your website on your browser and see how it looks. If it looks weird and you can't navigate it easily, you have a problem. Dad, do you have anything to add there about any of these on-site things?
No, I'm going to talk about title tags when we go.
Okay. So question for you. How do you currently rate your website? Look, you know, if you haven't updated your website in a few years, if it doesn't look good aesthetically, if you don't have any content there, your website's very barren, meaning there's not a lot of copy or words or photos. Maybe it's not friendly, mobile friendly, it's not secure. How would you rate your website 1 through 5? 5 being you are best best in class in your industry. You have a top-notch website. 1 meaning you don't even know what a website is, you never heard of one. And 3, you know, you're somewhere in average. Where would you rate yourself for how your website is? Just go ahead and put that in the chat box. That will give us a lot of great information going forward. Okay, Dad, why don't you tell them about title tags?
Okay. So title tags, I'm going to make it, I always like to say, explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old, and I'm going to explain it to you. So each page, picture each page of your website like a book in a library. There's a function of each page. And it's like if you go to the library and you're looking for a book on personal injury attorney and it's not labeled correctly, you're never going to find that book. So Google gives you the option to actually put in the title tag, which you're looking at on the left and the right hand side, and I'm just going to use the Orlando divorce attorney. This will tell Google that the basic information on this page is about I am an Orlando divorce attorney. You're giving Google the clues on how to rank you. Let's say I see a website that just say home because nobody optimized it. Believe me, if you're a divorce attorney, you do not want home business. You want relevant traffic. Traffic that's not relevant goes to your website and bounces off. And that's the worst signal sending Google. So you want people to say, I'm looking for an Orlando divorce attorney. I landed on the site. And this is where really I want to be, because what I normally will do is start looking around, snooping around the website, clicking different links and sending Google the signal that I've arrived at the right place, which increases the value of your actual website, which helps you rank better.
That's right. And on the left-hand side is a bad example, which is just says home in the name of the company. On the right-hand side, that's a good example. It says Orlando divorce attorney. Google knows what you're talking about when you search. And if you confuse on where to find a title tag, when you're in your web browser, simply hover over the tab. When you hover over that tab, that little white box will pop up, and you can read the text that it says there. You know, your web developer can fix these. You know, can fix that for you, change that for you if you know what you want your title tag to be. But if you want to know, you can go to any page on your website, or any website for that matter, if you want to look at your competition, for example, and just hover over the tab with your mouse and it will pop up in that white box. Okay, that's the easiest way to find it. Okay, so let's keep going here. All right, city pages. We alluded to that about a couple minutes ago. What is a city page? So a city page is, you obviously service certain areas, right? Whether it's Coconut Creek, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, whatever the case may be, right? So it's important on your website to have a page dedicated to the city that you service, right? So let's look at a good example here. This is a client that is a divorce mediator in Coconut Creek. So what we did is we made her a page on divorce mediation Coconut Creek. And let's look at the key factors, okay? At the very top of the URL bar, it's her website name / divorce mediation in Coconut Creek. On the far right, you see the title tag, divorce mediation in Coconut Creek. Then the title of the page, divorce mediation in Coconut Creek. And then several times throughout the text, which are generally about 500 words of copy up to like 1,000, also has keywords like Coconut Creek. And as you see the Coconut Creek there, you can see it's kind of in that blue text. That means it's a link. It's going to either internal link to another page on her website, or may external link to something that's relevant, such as Coconut Creek's government page, for example, because they're a high authoritative page. So it's important to structure it and have these city pages. Now, you know, this isn't anything super, you know, rocket science. It's just a little tedious, but you're sending a signal to Google that you are a divorce mediator in Coconut Creek when you have these elements fulfilled on this page. And it's very important in getting yourself ranked. So when someone types in, guess divorce mediator in Coconut Creek, look at this. Look who's the #1 result. Look, we'll go back. Look at the URL, southfloridamediationservices.com. Look at this. The first 2 results on Google, look at the very top. In the search bar, we typed in divorce mediation Coconut Creek. And then look who's the first 2 results. southfloridamediationservices.com. And you could bet she's going to get a lot of organic exposure being at the top 2 results for that term. So it's not anything too hard to understand. It's just something you got to do, and you got to title it and code it correctly. Dad, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think one of the analogies that I always like to hear is like what we're talking about is like making a very large cake with lots of different ingredients. And one of the ways I look at it, if I leave out 3 or 4 of these ingredients, it really will not so much destroy the taste of the cake, but it's not going to make it as good as you want it. Okay. So all these little things add up. They're not just one thing you do, and it's not 10 things you do. It's just a myriad of things that you are doing to make this happen. And City Pages, we have found, we have very good practical proof that these work.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Looks like someone's on. There we go. Okay. So let's go to the next thing. Okay. So what about everyone? Okay. So we just talked about the web, how important it is to optimize your website, right? Well, there's part of being ranked on Google and the search engine is not just your website. There's other things that, that need to happen to be, ranked well. First of all, you need to have an optimized Google My Business listing, which we went over. High quality backlinks. A backlink is something quite simple. Let's say you have a Facebook page, a Facebook business page, and Facebook gives you an option to put your website URL on your Facebook page. Boom, that's a backlink, meaning that Facebook is backlinking to your website. So people can find your website through other mediums like your Yelp page, your Facebook page, your Instagram page, any directory you've heard of, Avo, Super Lawyers, anything like that. Those are directories where it's linking back to your website. But you don't want it to just be any website, right? Like you don't want it to be Joe Schmo that just put together a website yesterday that puts a link to your website. You want them to be websites you've heard of, right? So, Bing, that includes these local directories, right? Bing, Yahoo, Yellow Pages. When they link back to your website, that shows Google that you have a trustworthy website. Having an active social media presence. This is actually important. If someone's going to type in the name of your company, a lot of times your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever page will come up. So you want to have a social media presence, especially on these major websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They literally get hundreds and millions of hits per day. Okay. So very important there.
Alan, how do you handle this? This is something that I hear a lot, especially for old guys like me. It's going, listen, I really don't use social media. Do I mean I have to go on and post personal things? How does a business actually utilize social media to help with their exposure?
Yeah, sure. So, it's not something where you need to post every single day. I would recommend about 3 to 4 times a week if possible. And if you don't have any content ideas, there's a lot of things. First of all, if you have blogs on your website, great thing you could just share there on social media. Maybe you have something, your team, or you have some kind of company event, outing. You could put that on social media. If you don't have any blogs on there, Google certain things that maybe aren't competitors or other blogs from your industry that you can go share. You can share other people's content on your webs, on your social media pages. So there really is a plethora of content that you could put on your social media pages. And if you're just like, wow, I have no idea where to get started with content, there's a lot of great websites out there where you can just find what people are asking. For example, answerthepublic.com. If you type in something about your industry, you'll see what kind of questions people are asking. So let's say you type in public adjuster or divorce lawyer. Answerthepublic.com will actually give you what people in real time are asking about that subject matter. And maybe you see a common question or people are asking, well, why don't you just use your social media page to answer questions? You could say, I've seen a frequently asked question going around. Can I still see, how does co-parenting work during COVID-19 pandemic? Go ahead and use your expertise to answer that on your social media page. So I know it can be difficult sometimes, but Facebook and Twitter really provide a pretty easy way to post on your website. On your pages, and you really don't have to be doing it every single day. You can just really dedicate a couple days a week. And there's even a way to schedule your post in advance on Facebook, so you don't have to sit there and do it every day. You could post up, a month worth of posts in advance on there. And then creating videos on YouTube is another huge factor in getting ranked highly. And you know why? It's because Google owns YouTube. And what are the #1 and #2 search engines in the world, respectively, right now? Google and YouTube. So Dad, why don't you talk to him about the importance of a branded YouTube channel?
Well, as you probably know, most people like watching videos instead of reading. That's why the streaming channels have grown in popularity, not just because of COVID. It's just the easiest thing to do. So what YouTube, being owned by Google and the second largest search engine in the world, it's only makes sense to convert a lot of your written material into videos. Again, we like to answer frequently asked questions. We can cross-pollinate those. What does that mean in English? So let's say you establish a YouTube channel, which of course will give you a backlink back to your website. You create these different frequently asked questions, and they don't have to be long. It could be a minute, minute and a half. And then you basically do a short video. Could be a PowerPoint animated video. It could be an animated video, that kind that we create. And basically you, not only do you list those on your YouTube channel, but you take those videos and you put those on your website. Okay. And then you put them on your Google business listing, and you can put them on your social media channel. So what you're doing is, we don't know if somebody's watching ABC, Fox, or CNN. That's why we want multiple channels, because we want to make sure our viewing public, whoever they may be, is looking at one of these different channels.
That's right. And you're probably saying to yourself, I don't know how to make a video. Well, that makes sense. And that's something we can do for you. We make videos, whether we make a lot of great animated videos or real videos that are very powerful. But let's just say, you have no idea, you don't necessarily want to, pawn it off on someone else. There's stock videos online, like there's a website called Pexels.com, Pexels.com, where you can actually get stock videos for free. Now, they may not have something about your subject material. They may or may not, but you can download those for free and even put them on a YouTube channel, on your YouTube channel as well, if you really are desperate and don't have a video or don't want to get one made. So there's options, but you want to make sure you have a YouTube channel, as Google owns that, and it sends the correct signals to Google. Okay, so ultimately, you want to appear on the first page of Google, right? But where on the first page? Those first 5 results, like we said earlier, is crucial. But even above those first 5 results, there's a thing called the map of 3, or sometimes it's commonly referred to as the map pack or local map pack. And that's when you type in a term, let's just say for the example here above, divorce attorney, New London, Connecticut. Map of 3 is literally the very first thing that appears at the very tippy top of the first page. And it's quite simply the map of that area, as you see above, and then it shows the first 3 results. Okay, so here's one of our clients, Bruce Chamberlain. He's a divorce attorney in New London, Connecticut, and look where he appears at the #1 result right there. Okay, on the map of 3, and this is where the phone rings. If we were looking at this from a mobile perspective, you'd actually see a little call button to the left of where it says website, and people can directly call you from that map of 3. So very, very important to show up there. And it's, when you type all the factors that we talked about today is how you get into that map of 3. So it does take a lot of work, but getting there is really you're going to see an ROI. You're going to, really see, your hard work pay off by showing up in that area. And, here's an example. Dad, why don't you show them what this, we went earlier that I told you your Google My Business listing shows you insights on the back end. Well, this is what an insight report looks like with your Google My Business page. And Dad, what does this show us?
So when you establish your Google business listing, Google allows you to go into the back end to make all kinds of revision changes, add your products, add your frequently asked questions, reply to reviews, and 4 or 5 other different items. But they also give you what they call insight reports. And these are the 2 that we pay most attention to. So the one on the right with the green and the blue, I'm going to explain to you. This shows us over the last 90 days, you can see where it says 1 quarter, how many times the Google business listing has shown up in the searches. Remember earlier we said that the Google business listing gets 4 times the impressions? Well, this is really the proof of that. So the way it comes up is 2 major ways. The discovery way is what we like to see when somebody is actually typing in your profession or something, or a derivative. So for example, in the divorce world, it could be divorce attorney. It could be child custody attorney. It could be prenuptial agreements. It could be, the different practice areas that are on his website. The green area is when somebody's actually typing in his name directly. Now, where is the real payoff? on the customer actions, which is in the top left, this really shows you how his Google business listing is performing over the last 90 days. Now, just look at this. He's received 191 visits to his website. That's just from his Google business listing. 33 people requested directions, but 166 people have called. And that's only from the mobile device, because that's the way Google does it. This is when somebody is on their mobile device, they hit the call button and it calls his phone number. So that doesn't mean all his phone numbers. This is just a portion of it. But you can see the type of business that Google is throwing your way.
Exactly. That's right. So 166 phone calls from a mobile device alone. That's why I said it's so important to appear in that map of 3, because that little phone icon appears right there, and people can literally just click call right from their cell phone to him. So, and like my dad said here, is that 166 isn't all the calls. This doesn't account for desktop calls too. So that means that someone could have found you in that map of 3 or on the first page of Google, and then manually, typed in the phone number on a regular phone, a hard line, or even on their cell phone if they didn't directly click, from that. So, this is going to obviously, I would assume anyone here would like to have 166 extra phone calls over the last 90 days just from Google organically, right? Okay, so let's get into reviews. Everyone knows what a review is and a testimonial. It used to be obviously word of mouth, but now digital reviews are so important. So just imagine for a second, you are searching out a company or a restaurant that you're about to go eat at with your spouse, and you see that that restaurant you're about to eat at is a 3.2, and a lot of people are complaining about the service or the quality of the food. And then it's Italian, and then you see another Italian restaurant that's a 4.8, and everyone is raving about it. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You're going to go to the one with the better ranking. It's the same thing for every industry. People look at reviews before they call you, so you need to have Google reviews, and they increase the brand trust, and they have been proven to influence buying decisions. Okay, so, and finally, it actually has an impact on your local search. So all the factors we discussed today, having an optimized website, having title tags, all those different things, those are big factors. But if you have no reviews, or you have all 1-star reviews, Google is not going to take that lightly. And that's actually a fairly big factor in your ranking in the search engine. So if you have no reviews or bad reviews, you're likely going to not rank as well as someone that has a good amount of positive reviews. So like I said, high quality and high quantity of reviews catapults you to the top of search rankings, as long as you're doing everything else correctly. And it'll allow you to outrank your competitors, right? It's like we said, you're going to choose that one with the better rankings. It's natural human nature. And it's been proven statistically that people click, call, go to their website of people with higher rankings. Improves click-throughs to your website, obviously. And 93% of purchases begin with an online search. So at some point, someone Googled your company or your product or your service before they called you. That's how it is today. People Google things. And, just an example, Gallery Furniture, you may have heard of, they have nearly 10,000 reviews online right now. And they have shown that their search traffic has increased by 50% since the beginning of time when they started their test, and their inbound calls have also increased by over 150% from customers searching online because they have so many positive reviews. Okay, so what about, how do you get reviews, right? Like I said, they don't just magically appear, right? First and foremost, ask. I can't tell you how many people just don't ask, and you want to strike while the iron's hot, right? So if you just did a great job for someone and they're talking you up, quite simply ask them, whether it's over the phone or wherever the case may be, ask them to leave you a review. But email has proven to be the best method to get a review. So if you have your past or current clients' email address, quite simply email them a message and request a review from them. But make it simple, right? Give them the link to your Google review page. And we actually have a guide that we can send if you would like, that we test different subject lines, and we test a different copy that has proven to really have a better chance at actually someone responding to that request for a review. But you always want to try out different things. You don't want to use the same subject line in that email every single time. Like I said, make it easy for them. You don't want this to be some sort of maze. Make sure you send them the link to your Google My Business page where they don't have to search for you. give them the link, and they'll be able to leave you a review. Respond to every review. Google has shown that this is very, very important. So when somebody leaves you a review, good or bad, make sure if it's good to thank them that they left you a review. Say, thank you, John, for the great review. We enjoyed servicing you, blah blah blah. And then if it's bad, try to solve that as well with a comment and responding. Keep it timely. 48% of consumers only pay attention to reviews written within the past 2 weeks. So you want relevancy. That's great if you have 55-star reviews, but if the last review you got was 4 years ago, I don't think that's really going to be as relevant as if you have 50 reviews over the last 3 months, right? And sometimes they can come few and far between, but make sure to marinate it and ask when you get a new client or you have a happy customer to give you a testimonial. And share your reviews everywhere. Go ahead and copy those reviews onto your website. Put them on your social media pages. Screenshot those reviews. Put them everywhere and let people know, hey, I'm a 5-star. I have a perfect 5-star rating on Google. There's nothing wrong with boasting that. And remember this, a business with 5 reviews is 270% more likely to create a sale than a company with 0 reviews. Reviews are crucial. And I think that no need to beat a dead horse there, but it's so important. Dad, do you have anything to add about reviews?
Well, I think it really is. I mean, we all use them. I mean, and at the end of the day, if you think that nobody uses them, you use them. Why does Amazon use them? Why do people look for reviews? In the old days, you used to say, who's a good whatever. You took the word for it. Even when you get a referral from your relatives, your friends, your parents, whomever, your kids, they still go to Google you. So I really don't have much more to add than that.
No, that's right. Okay. That was the bulk of our presentation there. We hope you guys enjoyed. Now we want to open up the floor to questions. I know that was a lot of information that we covered, and probably a little bit overwhelming, understandable. But like I said, we can handle all of these things for you. But why don't we open up the question? Go ahead and type any questions you have in the chat box, whether it's about Google reviews, social media, your website, anything in the digital marketing space. We're happy to answer it now. Please go ahead and feel free to type that in the chat box before we get into a special offer we have for you. And I think there was already some questions in here. Okay, here we got one from Deborah O'Hearn. Those of us with demanding schedules have little time to continually work on the technology component of marketing. Do you have recommendations of how to effectively accomplish these marketing tips without investing a lot of time? Well, look, yes, there are some automated ways to do. I mean, there are some platforms out there like Hootsuite.com, H-O-O-T, suite, S-U-I-T-E.com, where you can pre-schedule your posts on social media, for example. There's definitely automated softwares out there that can do some of this stuff for you. But honestly, one of the best ways really is to kind of hire a service or a marketing company to do this for you. But some of this stuff, unfortunately, is just very time consuming. Some of it you can automate, whether it's a marketing software like HubSpot or Hootsuite or whatever the case may be. That's probably one of the ways you can automate it and save some time there. Would you say that is right, Dad?
Yes, absolutely. Also, remember, I mean, one of the reasons that we do these webinars is because we would like to work with you guys. We don't take on everybody. We want to make sure we're successful. But that's one of the reasons we do this. We try to let you know of our expertise. We're a company of integrity. As we said earlier, we're A+ rated with Business Bureau. We want to work with you. We want to provide you great services at a very affordable price.
Yeah, exactly. So type your questions in the chat box. If you don't know how to do that, you could just quite simply unmute yourself and ask. There should be a button to unmute, and just you can ask us verbally. I know there's got to be some questions for people who are still on the webinar. Let me know if you have any questions. We're happy. We'll be here for about 5 minutes to answer. While you guys are typing in your questions, and we'll make sure to monitor that. So like we promised, we have a special offer for you, right? For a limited time, we are going to offer 50% off our first month of Google marketing services for you. So if this is something you're interested in, 50% off the first month. And like we said, we're very flexible with our terms. We don't lock you into some sort of long-term contract. We're willing to offer 50% off if you take action by next Friday. I should say next Friday. We'll be happy to extend that offer to you for attending this webinar. We're only doing this for the people that are on the webinar. So if you want to take action, we have a sign up right here. So if you want to sign up for it, what we'll do is to make sure that we're a right fit for each other. We don't want to just take on anyone, like my dad said there. We'll actually have a free consultation with you where we'll analyze some issues in your marketing. So here's an example of someone we worked with. We showed them how their website speed was a 54, and we basically gave them tips and suggestions on what they could do. We'll do a free audit of your website, and then if you end up signing up, we'll give you 50% off that first month. You could book it right there. There's my calendar link right there. So copy that down. I'll also include here, I'll include that link in the chat right now so you can do it. So calendly.com/Alan11/60-minute month equals 2020. Okay, so that is the Calendly link right there. I've just put it in the chat. So you can definitely sign up for an audit right now. A couple questions came in. Michelle, is using a testimonial service like real reviews by real people necessary, or is optimizing Google a better use of time or product? I'm not sure I understand the question, but those go hand in hand. You need to optimize your Google listing, but you also need reviews. You don't really want to just do one and not the other. I don't think, they're both very necessary. You want to, yes, you don't need to use necessarily a testimonial service like Bird Eye, or I don't know if Real Reviews, I don't know if that's a service or if you literally meant real reviews. But you can use a service, or like I said, you can just quite simply, if you have a small database of people, you can email requests for reviews, but it's very necessary. And as far as optimizing Google, they're both really good uses of time. You need to do both. I can't sit there and say that one is more important than the other, because like I said in the beginning, we believe in holistic marketing. You don't just do one thing and expect, results. You need to be doing multiple things.
One of the things I want to add is that the review services are good because they do save you time. Okay. I think always I look at it one of two ways. If you're extremely busy, okay, you should farm out a lot of your marketing. If you're not busy, then you have extra time to do it yourself. It's really a trade-off at the end of the day. So what I find out that most people, when they are not doing well, it's probably because they're not marketing. And then all of a sudden they start marketing and attending events, sending out emails, getting reviews, working on their website. Then all of a sudden they start getting work, and then they get too busy and then they don't do any marketing, and then they are planning their next slowdown. So you kind of have to, it's hand in hand. You're going to be a little bit involved, but you're going to have a service that's going to help you get involved to save time and money.
That's right. That's right. Deborah asked, generally, how long does it take to start seeing results? I mean, that's a great question. One thing is, don't just, start doing marketing for 1 month and quit because there's no results. It's going to take a few months. Okay. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. I mean, if you're doing a Facebook advertising campaign, sure, you could likely see results right off the bat. If you're talking about an SEO campaign, it's gonna take a little bit longer. I mean, it could take several months before you start, increasing your rankings and getting phone calls. But that's the whole point. It is a little bit more of a longer term play, but you're setting yourself up for success when a lot of your competitors aren't doing this or they don't do it long enough. So it doesn't mean it's going to take years. It just does take a little bit longer. But some of these things can be done immediately, like setting up a Google My Business page. You could do that right away, and you can get more exposure off the bat. So, it's going to take some time. Like anything, you need to let it marinate and you need to try out different things. But that's part of marketing. It does take a little while. It's not exactly immediate. So that was a question. Thomas said he wanted an audit of his business. Thomas, I think we discussed there. I got your information. Is there any other questions? Deborah, if you want to, I see that you, Deborah, please send me your phone number and email address in the chat there, and I'll make sure to follow up with you. You can send the message privately if you like, or you can go to that link there. We'll follow up with you. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, you can book that free audit with us. We'll spend, about a half hour to an hour with you on an audit call, really breaking down your business and how we can improve and help you. And it's at that link there, calendly.com/Alan11. So just, please click there and sign up for it. Or you could see our contact info there at the bottom. There's our cell phone, our email addresses right there. And like I said, 50% off on the first month. Take advantage of that before that goes away. We're doing it for limited time. Is there any other questions? Feel free to, come on the screen and ask, or ask us in the chat. We're going to stay on here for like another minute before we let everyone go and get back to work. Other than that, Dad, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much. I think we covered all the good stuff.
Cynthia, yep, you're welcome. We're happy to present that. No problem. Well, once again, guys, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We hope you had some key takeaways from this. Like I said, I will send an email to everyone with this PowerPoint presentation so you can, this video presentation so you can watch it again. I'll even be happy to send you the presentation so you can read it over if you don't feel like listening. I'll send you that. I will send you the Calendly update, the Calendly link so you can book a meeting with us, and I'll include some other relevant information in there. So everyone look out for their email boxes for the presentation and the Calendly link. Other than that, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and thank you for your time. Okay, I'm just going to write down the number really quick of